I'm Melissa.
And I'm Jesse. And
this is the Reimagine Success Podcast.
We're a husband and wife team who want to make a difference.
Keeping up with the Joneses can be exhausting, and we can often lose sight of what we are accomplishing.
We're here to reimagine success and to celebrate the steps it takes us to get there.
Big or small, we want to showcase success stories that will inspire, motivate, and help propel you towards greatness in your own life.
So come reimagine success with us, and let's go on this journey together. All right, we are back.
We are. Second week of Reimagine Success Podcast.
Episode 2.
That is right, Jesse.
I hope you all enjoyed episode number 1. We enjoyed just telling you a very, very little bit about what this podcast is going to look like and where we're going. And today we're going to dive a little deeper into our personal stories.
Who we are, where we came from, where we're going, and where we're going as a couple as well. You can imagine we are a husband and wife team who just started this amazing podcast, and we hope to encourage and inspire all of you listeners.
All right, so we're going to start first with Melissa, and we're going to talk a little bit about how we got our start in what we're currently doing. So Melissa, acting, when did you start? Where did you start? Why did you start?
Right. Okay. Well, that goes all the way back to childhood, where I was a very shy little girl, which is completely different than who I am now. I started off in foster care and was adopted. So in 9th grade, I had a friend who actually got me into the drama club, which I was not allowed to do until 10th grade.
Do you want to give a shout out real quick to that friend?
Yes, of course. That friend was Amanda, and she was in my wedding as one of my bridesmaids by my side. She was beautiful that day.
Thanks, Amanda. You changed Melissa's life.
So we started off, and she's the first person to get me on stage, and I was the first person to get her on stage.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so it was a vice versa kind of thing with us. And she really got me to open up, and I was amazing at theater. I rocked it. And by the time I was in 10th grade, I was taking the senior spots. So it really got me out of my shell, and it really opened me up as a person, as who I am today and who I was going to become. From there, that was something that I really wanted to pursue, but of course life gets in the way over the years. Right. As everything. And you have to make money.
Yeah, that's going to be a common theme throughout this podcast.
Life. But that is also to let you guys know that's not a distraction. You think life is a distraction, but it's really not. Life is there to teach you lessons. And sometimes it doesn't go the way that we perceive it or we want it to go. And that's not a bad thing. That is honestly what life is about.
Right. So
when I got a little bit older, I moved to LA, and that was my big breaking point, where I learned, I studied with the best of them. I got into improv, and I did a lot when I was in LA, but then I came back to Atlanta, and now I'm just still here rocking it.
Yeah, you've done several things since you've been back in Atlanta. You've got to be in several movies, TV shows, but most notably, I think the thing that most people want to know about is Naked and Afraid.
Naked and Afraid, right. I was actually not naked and afraid. I feel like I was naked and surviving.
Naked and confident.
That show was honestly one of the biggest life decisions I think I could have ever made for myself.
Now, a lot of people ask this question all the time, so let's go and get it out of the way. How did a little country girl from Augusta, Georgia, end up on Naked and Afraid?
Okay, so I lived in LA, as I just mentioned, and I was signed up with a lot of casting agencies from LA. I had just moved back to Atlanta, Had no work, had no job yet, nothing going on, and I received a casting notice from an LA casting company saying, "Hey, can you take off 3 weeks, 4 weeks from work? Are you outdoorsy?" My email response back was honestly the lamest thing I think I've ever written in my life. It was, "Yes, I'm a country girl, originally born in South Carolina, smiley face, smiley face. I'm very Southern, smiley face, smiley face. I can take off work, smiley face, smiley face." And within an hour, I got an email back saying that they wanted to go ahead and set up an interview. The next day, I had a phone interview and I realized what it was for. Then I kind of took a little seat back and I was like, what am I doing? Okay, fine, let's do it. It wasn't until I was in the plane and I was touching down in Panama that I was really like, what am I doing?
Yeah, because you didn't have hardly any survival training before that.
I did backpacking, camping, the things that you do that's outdoorsy. But as far as, survival skills, if you're taking sticks and rubbing them together and creating fire, no. But I took that as a challenge, and I took that as an opportunity to grow myself. And I trained actually with Big Pig Outdoor in Tennessee. Shout out to them. I trained with them for a weekend and learned all of my skills and went on the show. But to be honest, it was such a whirlwind of everything that I was doing with the show, doing interviews. I was doing, my physicals, health screenings, mental screenings, tests, and it was a whirlwind. And it really wasn't until I was touching down in Panama and the plane was literally landing on the ground that it sunk into my head what I was doing.
Mm. And what a reality that ended up being. 21 days in a Panamanian jungle.
Right.
7 by yourself.
Yes.
Overcoming let's just say a butthole of a partner.
Right. So the whole thing in my eyes was truly about learning who I am. And I think that was the door that opened up myself to really know who I am as a person and know how strong I am as a person. And that experience opened many doors moving forward, more doors than actually moving to LA did. And to me, that's something that I can continue to learn and grow from.
Yeah, so that opened doors. You started getting into more acting jobs. What have you been doing more recently in the realm?
Well, recently, Hills is on Stars, just came out. I'm on 2 episodes of that show. And honestly, I have been working on this podcast. I have been working on myself. I've been working on growing myself. And there's a lot of things in my life that have changed. Like I'm married. I have 2 stepkids now. And there's a lot of refocusing I've been doing. And I want to, do more of the back end stuff. I want to produce and, get my content out there, which is podcasting. It's also Deadly Crimson, which I'm still working on. The 2nd issue is about to come out.
Hang on. Let's not breeze over that. There might be people listening that have no idea what Deadly Crimson is.
That is very true. So Deadly Crimson is a creation that I actually created when I was in LA. And it is turned into a comic book series. And now the 2nd issue, the 1st issue is already out. The 2nd issue is about to come out, and I'm about to go to Comic-Con in San Diego as a professional and promote Deadly Crimson. I'm actually working with Netflix right now in order for Deadly Crimson to come out as a 6-series kind of mini series that we're going to do to test it. So definitely when you see Deadly Crimson on Netflix, watch it so it'll come up season 2. They'll launch season 2 for it. And that is a project that I've been working on for a while. It's, very challenging, and it's also very rewarding to see something that you have created and written come into light. Also, since then, I do want to do a lot of the creation. So I've been starting to work on other projects behind the scenes. And, this is my outlet for creativity right now. The podcast is actually my way to keep you guys engaged and also to, for us to be together in a way.
Yeah, and to spread the message
Hmm.
that you have in your heart of positivity and hope and change and all that good stuff.
Right. And we want to bring on speakers every single week that resonates with each listener. And so we're going to take it to you, Jesse. I know you have done music. You have been on stage in front of thousands of people, and you've done an amazing career. You have a new album that's about to come out. So, how did you get started into music?
So when I was 3 years old, my father taught my brother and I how to play some music. My brother was playing guitar and I was playing keyboards. And, my dad didn't know a lot about keyboards. He learned to play by ear. He didn't even know the proper fingers to use, but what he did know was how to instill a love of music into me. He taught me, the basic chords, and then whenever we were out at a restaurant, he'd be like, Jesse, what's that chord progression that's playing? And I would recognize that it's the progression that he taught me. At the time, I just said C, A minor, F, and G because that was kind of what I knew at that young age. But it was just the pattern that he got me used to hearing. So all growing up, we would do that, and I would hear that pattern, and I would recognize it, which trained my ear at a young age. Well, fast forward a couple of years, we moved from Brooklyn, New York to Walhalla, South Carolina. Biggest culture shock ever. I didn't have a lot of friends because I was the Yankee kid in the southern town. And the friends that I did have were like, Jesse, you should be in orchestra class. I didn't know anything about orchestra. I was this punk kid that listened to rap music at the time. And actually, I remember putting on one of my school things that I wanted to be a professional rapper when I grew up as a child, which is really funny thinking back on that now.
That's funny.
But so I walk into orchestra class and I talked to my parents first, and my dad's like, yeah, you can play the violin. And so I walk in, and my teacher, Miss Judy Weston, who just recently passed away, she's been an unbelievable influence in my entire life. She looked at me and she goes, yeah, I already have like 20 violins. What I really need is a cello. And so I was like, okay, I don't know any better. I've never even seen a cello, frankly, at this point in my life. I didn't know what a cello was. It just, okay, I'll do cello. So I come bebopping out of school that day with a big old cello on my back, and my dad's like, that's not a violin. And I was like, no, they didn't need a violin, so I'm going to play cello. And honestly, that set the entire trajectory for the rest of my life. That moment changed everything for me, and I just fell in love with it. Up until that point, I had dabbled with music, but I'd never gotten really serious into it. And starting to play cello opened my eyes to a completely different world of music. It trained me in ways that I could never have gotten any other way. And so I pursued cello all through school, got really good really fast at it, was basically always first chair in every orchestra I was in. And then at 13, I was like, you know what? I kind of want to learn the guitar as well. So my dad started teaching me guitar, and I just fell in love with that. Again, I didn't have a lot of friends. Music was my only friend. I would spend hours and hours every single day on the edge of my bed, probably 4 or 5 hours a day, just playing away at music all day, every day. Every chance I got, I had an instrument in my hand. And so, when I was 16, I started my first serious band with a couple guys from high school, and we had some relative success, and then we ended up splitting up after my senior year. And I did several projects throughout the years. A lot of it where I was kind of in the background doing backup vocals and lead guitar stuff, and then some of it where I was the lead singer. got to do some amazing festivals. Like you said, I've been blessed to play in front of thousands of people. The coolest place I ever got to play was the Thompson Bowling Arena in Tennessee, and there's like 24,000 people there, and that was just wild
I
being in an
bet.
arena. But like you said, life tends to get in the way. When you are on the road a lot doing music, it's tough to hold down a family and to do the things that you need to do to be that family man. And so I've given up my dream a lot of times, and then I'll take it back up and try again, and then I'll give it up again, and then I'll start a new project and try again. And with every project, I feel like I'm more confident and experience a little bit more success, but then it ends up stopping and as I start over again. And so now that brings me to my current place where I'm just a solo artist these days, and I'm working on my brand new record, like you mentioned, and I'm getting more into the back end of things, just like you, with production, and I'm producing this entire new record, which I'm unbelievably excited about. This record is different than anything I've ever written. It's got a completely different production style. I'm writing my songs totally differently, and I'm stretching myself in ways that I've not done before. But the thing that I'm most excited about is the message of this record.
Right.
It's incredibly positive. It's about, I'll go ahead and give a little teaser here. The album's going to be called Taking Control.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason it's called Taking Control is because the album's about taking control of your life, of your relationships, of your mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's about
Your emotions.
Yeah, your emotions. It's about taking back what this world has stolen from us, because it's time for us to stop just doing, well, kind of what we're saying on this podcast. Stop keeping up with the Joneses. Stop living for the status quo,
Mm-hmm.
and start living your life for what you're called to do.
Right.
Because you're called to so much more than just going to a job every day and working 9 to 5 and having 2 weeks vacation and weekends off. Like, that's not living. I mean, sometimes that's what we have to do. We're both in places where we're working jobs right now, and we're not completely chasing our passions all the time, and that's okay. You have to have a balance. You have to juggle things sometimes until your passion can become your full-time gig. But we're working towards that. We're actively stretching ourselves to reach those goals. And though we've both had successes in what we've done musically and in acting, that's not our end game. We're still pushing forward. We're still trying new things. We're still trying to build something in our lives that's bigger than who we are as people, and make our legacy something that people can look back and say, man, they really influenced me in this way, or they really helped me in that way. That's the legacy that I want to leave in this world.
Right. And Jesse, I've always said, if I make a difference in one person's life, at the end of my life, it's worth it.
Absolutely.
We as humans need to inspire and encourage everyone else. And that's what we're here. That's our purpose, to love, encourage, give gratitude, give thanks. It's all a circle. And if we are all doing that to each other, then think about how much better this world will be.
Yeah.
And that's what this podcast is about. This podcast is about celebrating your successes, no matter what they are, no matter how big, no matter how small, and celebrating them every single day. For yourself, for others, for your family, for your friends, just celebrating each other and loving each other.
Yeah, so going forward, I think for both of us, we just talked about celebrating our successes. We celebrate our successes every day. And if you don't do this with your spouse, then shame on you. But every single thing that either of us does that's cool or, exciting, we blow it up for each other. Mm-hmm. And we are constantly like, oh my gosh, I'm so proud of you. Mm-hmm. I love you so much. Like, you are awesome. And we build each other up and we push each other forward. And you need that. You need somebody in your corner. And if the person you're with isn't in your corner, they might not be the right person for you, because you have to have somebody that cheers you on.
Right. And we also give each other guidance. We're each other's best compass and, best support system. And not only that, but you have your spouse, you have your friends, and they should all be supporting you. If your friends are not supporting you too, then maybe you need to have new friends.
Yeah. It's the most crucial thing in life that I found in my time here on earth is that it matters who you're around so much.
Right.
If you have to cut ties with people, burn bridges, then do it, because you don't want to be held back because other people tell you that you can't do it. One of the biggest struggles for me growing up trying to be a musician is that a lot of times I was told, oh, this is just a pipe dream. Hardly anybody makes it.
Yes, I've heard that my entire life as well, Jesse.
And the sad thing is that making it doesn't mean anything. Making it means different things to everybody. And I can have a career as a musician, and you can have a career as an actress, and do it on our terms. I don't have to be the next Mick Jagger.
Or Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah. Like, we're not trying to be anybody else. We're trying to be who we are, not keep up with the Joneses. You'll hear us say that all the time. And actually just do what's in our hearts. And that's the thing. Like, if you don't have people around you that are encouraging you to do that, then you're really doing yourself a disservice by keeping those people in your lives and keeping yourself held down by people who don't have your best interest at heart.
Right. And where we want to go in the future, not only with this podcast, but with ourselves, is just to continue to grow, You want to be around others. They always say that if you're the smartest person in the room, you're probably in the wrong room.
Yep.
And yesterday I was in a room, full of business owners, full of executives, full of other mentors and leaders who are out there doing it and crushing it in their own way. And learning and growing and mentoring from, those individuals is what life is about.
Yeah, absolutely. I was in that same room, and, I'm not even really in the business world. I'm kind of an entrepreneur because of my music stuff, and I have to take on that business mindset.
Okay, so first off, Jesse, they don't know what room we were in yesterday. So yesterday, just to give everybody a little backstory, yesterday I led a summit, and it's Atlanta Small Business Summit. And that was here at the Westin in Atlanta. And the entire presentation, we had 8 speakers, 2 panels. The entire presentation was honestly about being successful in your own way, giving tips, giving advice, mentoring other business owners. So that's the backstory of what we're speaking about.
Yeah. And what's cool is you can glean information and wisdom no matter where you're at. As long as you're putting yourself in a position where the people around you have information that you don't, that's a great place to be. And if you go into any situation like that with an open mind, an open heart, and just ready to soak in and learn, like I said, I'm not a business person per se, but I took so much away from that for my own life and for the way that I treat the people around me and the people that come up beside me. I've learned so much, and it helped me tremendously. And so that's our goal, is to just keep learning, keep growing, and to keep pushing forward in the things that are in our hearts to do.
Yes. And if you are a woman leader, you're a business owner, you are a CEO of your company, definitely reach out to me. We have amazing summits all over the country. And we would, love to either have you on as a speaker, or you can come on as an invitee and hear about our amazing speakers.
Yeah. So with that being said, I think that's pretty good for our stories today. It's just a little bit about our journey, and we might go into some more detail throughout the podcast as it comes up. naturally, but this will be the last episode the last episode for a minute where it's just about us. We're going to try to have some guests real soon. And we've got some exciting ones that we've already talked to, and they're, excited about coming on the podcast and giving us their wisdom. But in the meantime, if you've got a story to tell, if you've got a success story that's just burning in your heart and you want to share it with people because you think that it might help impact others or to make a difference in somebody's life, reach out to us at reimaginesuccesspod@gmail.com. And make sure you follow us on all the social media platforms. Anywhere on social media, my personal is Music Jesse B. That's Music JESSEB. And then on all the streaming platforms, you can find me under Jesse Biondi, JESSEBIONDI. And that's where you'll find all my music on Apple and Spotify and all that good stuff. And like we've said, I'm about to put out an album at the first of the year. I should be dropping a single pretty soon, but that album will come out first of the year. And that's how you can find me.
And I'm Melissa LeEllen. You can follow me on all the social media platforms at Melissa LeEllen. That's LeEllen. And we are so thankful that you're here with us today. Right, Jesse?
Absolutely. Don't forget, if you haven't liked and subscribed to our podcast, you can find that almost everywhere at Reimagine Success Pod on all the socials except for Twitter, which is R_S_pod. And then our website is reimaginesuccesspod.com.
Did you get motivated? Do you feel inspired?
Don't worry about keeping up with the Joneses anymore. And don't forget to celebrate your successes every single day. Thank you for taking this journey with us.
Follow us at Facebook and Instagram at Reimagine Success Pod. Email us at reimaginesuccesspod@gmail.com and let us know what your successes are.
New episodes every Thursday at reimaginesuccesspod.com.
So let's change our mindsets and reimagine success.